Good morning. Well, started out well yesterday. Didn't get far. It's up at that resistance, so it makes sense. But I mean, to get a little bit further was certainly could have happened. But nope, it didn't continue higher. So it came in a little bit, not a big deal. And if we look at this on a closing basis, it's still just making a slowly grinding line higher, but it didn't see the distance between the prior day and yesterday. I supply no. I wish I had the power, but I don't. So it's more of the same grinding, overlapping bars. I mean, this was the only, and it's frustrating for me, I'll tell you, but I don't know everybody else. I mean, the credit spread things, I mean, other than a gap, I mean, that has been the vehicle that's been working for the longest time. I mean, other than that, you think about it, and kind of to some extent, it has just been a constant mess of crap. And that's what's going on here. So lots of indecision, lots of overlapping bars, lots of uncertainty, whether it's interest rates or China or whatever. It's just the way it is right now, and nothing we can do about it. Well, one thing we can do about it, and is whenever we see, as a rule of thumb, when you see this kind of erratic price action, you have to go out to a longer time frame and wider stops, with your analysis based on that. And so now, top of the range, as we've been talking about, and sometimes they can peak over the top of the range before they stall. Anyway, what's happening here right now is we're getting a bit of a gap down. And so it's gapping down. Look at the cursors on the daily and hourly charts, and even the 15, it's gapping down to support. And what you can see here. And so usually it's going to come down to the pivots there in between there. And so what kind of damage does that do to the daily chart? Well, nothing of great significance. It's just more of the same crap. So it could turn into a gap reversal bar today. We never know what it is. I mean, if it was a gap deeply down here, we'd say, well, the probability of it turning into a green day and closing at the high would be slim to none. Whereas, a gap down to here onto support, that could turn into a green day and, take this kind of a bar and just shift it over here. And maybe that's what we get. But if we get the opposite of that and it's a red day, well, we're still into this mess. But it all depends on whether it's a range expansion day. And let's clear that up. And of course, we're talking about this bar. And at the beginning of the week, what I mentioned, pointing this little arrow there, is that bar expanded in range a little bit, and it's got a little tail on the top, and a break underneath that would be a significant change. As you can see from the bottom of the range, moving to the top of the range, there hasn't been any break of a prior bar's low. First reference point of support is a prior bar's low in the time frame being used. And so that's basically where we're at as to what's going to happen here, whether the mess just continues or whether something more significant happens. So inflation numbers coming tomorrow that can move the markets. So that certainly could certainly be a market mover. And so Jake is sharing with me today's expected move is 24 handles, which is what he mentioned the other day, which was, I think, 2 days ago. And that's about what it was. So let's stay in that. What it was, so, not very much, but so puts us where does that put us as far as support and resistance? All right, so we got to go to SPX. Take a peek at the futures as we always do before going there. And so what do we have happening here? Move toward resistance, getting rejected. Not unusual. And it's got to break. And it's got to break below this area at a minimum. Sheen Showers. Oh, that come through a Facebook bot. Sheen Showers is someone from the past. He just posted there. Great guy. Not in the markets. I think personal trainer, looking good on Facebook and all that. Hey, Sheena. So this is an initial line in the sand. Can it close down below here? And of course, we have the wide range bar and all of this support. So we're just still into a lot of congestion and uncertainty. But maybe we're going to get a red bar this week. So it's like I titled today, it's just more of the same. It couldn't push too much higher. It's more of the same congestion and overlapping bars and nothing of significance yet. Will this go sideways longer and eventually break out, or will it break down? We just need to wait and see. So it is what it is. Eventually it will change. All right. So I was eyeballing this. Let me go back to here for a moment and see where this is at on those bars. Okay, and toward the bottom of that range under that bar. All right, let's just move this if I can grab that. And the ranges are still around 40 points, just on average true rain basis. So it's around here. And 4130. 4130. I'm not going near that. 130. Am I reading that right? 4130. That shows huge. I think you got a wrong number there, Jake. 4030. Yeah. I was like, really? 4030. 4030, but it's only a dime by 15 cents. What the hell can we do with that? That's way down there. If there was juice there, that would be a no-brainer. Yeah. So it's gapping here. We need a number at least somewhere down here, 4090, something like that. 4090. 4090. That's 85 by 90. That's doable. But if it drops, we go a little bit lower. So you can see where 4090 is. I mean, it's reasonable because you got to go below the wide range bar. Right. And you've got this close down here at 4090. That should be good. And then up above where there's premium 4170, that's 70 by 80, 4170. And it's gapping here. Well, if that average range that you say of 25 points, it'll be a no. Sure, I was going to say no brainer, but an iron condor would be considered if you believe that 25 points. And it certainly could be just a running in place day while they wait for the inflation data, because Tesla's out, right? The bank, couple of those regional banks are out. They were up after hours. The markets are down. So, go figure. And with those banks moving up, you'd think maybe the markets would kind of look at that as a good thing. But I'll bring you back to this chart that we talked about, and the dollar. It's still not clearing these highs up here, right? And interest rates, I think this is what is the unexpected as far as what could drag this market down. This is just the relationship that it has been. And so it's just looking at this and saying, well, if the old relationship follows through, whereas the dollar goes up and interest rates go up and the market goes down and the market's at resistance, it's just common sense. Now we have to see if it happens. So you can see the 2-year futures are pushing down a little bit on those pivots. So it's at a critical point. And the volatility index, right, we talked about, everybody's starting to talk about it, right? It's down here near these lows. So that's low. And one of the other things we talked about last night in the coaching session was, hey, this moved up, such a shallow retracement, a red bar ignored. What is all the hesitancy? I mean, this thing should be ripping higher historically with that kind of pattern, and it's not. And now it's gapping down a little bit. It's still within this range. So, I repeat myself, more of the same, grinding stuff. We got this breakdown failure on the 10-year here. So some bearish implications, interest rates, VIX, the dollar, you see gold starting to retrace in a little bit. And, we just have to see if we can get some follow through one way or the other. Now you see the NASDAQ is down a little bit more, but still within a trading range. We need to see something give here, not just these inside bars going back and forth, some decisive price action. It is what it is, right? You can stare at the charts all day long, but until something decisive happens. But the key is to know what's decisive and where your lines in the sand are. So the Russell backing off a little bit makes sense. Dow, sideways at resistance. You got to be Houdini to trade this, or stupid. And, well, I guess intraday can flip back and forth, but it's too much of a roller coaster. And, transports backed off from those pivots. Makes sense. We take a good peek at Bitcoin, which has been the best thing, sideways up there, but, so the momentum slowed down immediately. So we talked about in coaching last night, reading momentum. That's great. You expect it to go higher. It went higher, and now it needs to push again. Tesla, and I'll leave that to Dan. He'll look at Tesla with you guys. Gold is backing off a bit. Of course, it makes sense. If the dollar keeps going up, it's going to come down. Silver is extended. You can see on the weekly chart, it's not giving it up right now, but the topping patterns never give it up fast. And crude oil pulling in a little bit. So a lot of running in place. Look for your nice patterns and smaller shares, share sizing, and see where it goes. Yeah. I forgot to mention this. You don't think they're going to raise interest rates? Think again. Right? Look at that pushing up above 5% now, the 13-week, and we already looked at the 10. It's stalled at the pivot. We'll see what it does. To you, Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, I posted some of those comments from Bullard, and I wasn't watching the futures when he said it, so I don't know if that was a direct cause of the sell-off last night. I don't know, but it doesn't matter anyway. So let's go right to earnings. Netflix, first bang of the season. So we did a condor. We did way 290, $10 wide, and I think 390 call spread. So even with it down like this, we're going to have what's so funny, Alex? So even with the gap down here, this is kind of a big M top. If you look at it, this curve, void, but it's gapping right, right to this. So we're gonna have a beautiful open game. I'm bidding a penny for the short call, see if I get filled. I have no idea what they're gonna open up at. ISRG's been on a tear, 290. Things that could run in and gap. I think it's a short-term exhaustion. So 30-minute low, my bias is a call spread for today's Wednesday, for Friday, 2 days of risk. OMC, bullish all time frames, but no pattern. UAL, whipping around, pretty flat. FNH, this is a regional bank, gapping up, but no pattern. We have a couple others, IBKR. So that's why this guy, the CEO, was on CNBC. I like him. I forget what country he's from, but European guy, the founder, and he says, he's, I don't know if he's some hungry, or I don't know how much he knows fundamental analysis, other than he's very smart man. But he's like, yep, he's shaking his head on this rally too. It's like, doesn't make any sense. Market's overpriced. He thinks we should be 20% lower based on earnings coming up. So maybe earnings season and these higher rates are going to be what's in. Maybe more regional bank problems. People keep talking about REITs being the next shoe to drop. So all those things combined could definitely be the impetus for another leg down. But it's not happening right now. We need more time. So this was this was one that just friggin' collapsed. And their options were priced for bankruptcy. Now it's a nice gap up. So short term, that's the market is saying it's going to survive. Oh, you're on Telegram, Tesla, short watch. Tim, let's go back to Tesla. And Tesla, yeah, it's kind of a bear flag. Absolutely. It's gapping now down under 178. I think we were going to do a call spread on this, but I think it is earnings today, I think, or tomorrow or something or other. Let me look real quick. Earnings 419 after the bell. So that's the problem. Yes, it looks lower, gapping down with the market. It just depends what type of trade you want to put on, if you're trying to jump in front of earnings or not. All right, so this was a bottoming pattern that, there's so much difference in these regional banks. I mean, some of them aren't bouncing at all. Some of them have bounced nicely, and some of them are setting up bottoming patterns now. So we'll keep an eye on that. Plug short. Yeah, it's down a lot, but that's a bearish trend, daily, weekly, monthly. UCBI, I don't see a gap. It's a mess and a downtrend. I have no interest unless it takes out yesterday's high. I'm saying, look at Fold. It's just disgusting weakness. Martin here. Did I lose my pre-market? No. So these are not printing on my. All right, there finally. Martin is down. Down to $20. That's nothing to do. I got to come back. Here's another one. That's just a nasty trend. These charts are, like I said, really kind of filtering out which ones they think are going to survive or not. 36. So that's a nice gap on earnings. That's a short-term bottom. Let's come back to that. ASML kind of gave a profit warning. We were going to do a call spread on this on Monday's gap down, but we didn't do it with the earnings coming up. 6.25. It still looks lower to me. If it were gapping down to 605, then I would think it might be able to bounce. Abbott gapping over the red bar, but it's up a lot. It's up at 108 here. So unless it sets up a day trade. MS here, 86 and change. That's a nasty gap under this big green bar. So it was a triple bottom kind of or inverse head and shoulders bottom. And look how bullish people were getting in front of the number. Look at JP Morgan. Wow, maybe that's why they were jumping in front of it. I don't know, thinking it would pull a JPM or earnings releases or whatever. All right, so 30-minute low, top of the range. That could be a call spread for Friday. Gapping down here, 470 ELV, totally in the middle of the range. So middle of the ranges, I like as possible condors. Yeah, USB. Yeah. Let's see if it can take out a 30-minute high. I'll set an alarm 3640. Well, actually, I'm just going to put it in a window. USB. I mean, so yeah, if it can get up there. I'll set an alarm also. 3630. Travelers. Yeah, I'm watching that. UNG Rich. Yep. I got it in a window. 178. It's a beautiful gap from a bottoming pattern. I would have liked it better if it like gap just to the top of the range here and then maybe took out a 15-minute high. But we'll watch it. It's a bullish gap. BKR swapping around. The nice double bottom retest here and monster move. NDAC up 5684. That could be a 30-minute high. I'll put that bottom right. I got Netflix and the other computer, obviously. We still have pending CME. So maybe CME will trigger. Now it's a 1, 2, 3 buy setup. Maybe with NDAC up. That might bring some excitement to CME. We'll see. Let's say CFG was one that was a bottoming pattern, relative weakness, but had a beautiful 180, 1, 2, 3. So it's gapping down here. That's a bearish gap deep into yesterday's bar or Monday's bar. So that looks damaged. It would, I think, be a miracle to recover now. Here you go. And they missed earnings, so I wonder if they're talking right now about something. But see, that's up a lot, though. Look at my horizontal line. So the regional banks, you got this one and KRE, but the KBWB is substantially better pattern. So by definition, that means there's different stocks in it. It's just a mathematical certainty. KC. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of down a lot at that prior low. I'm not sure. Yeah, UNG, I was watching. I was hoping it would have pulled into the gap a little bit yesterday. Delta 20, asking about LMT. Yeah, we were looking at this and knock also. Yeah, both of those Delta 20, if you can get out of the money liquid options, good juice. Yeah, they're both fine. Here's another bottoming pattern that is ripe for a long. I had an alarm at whatever it was, and it just went off. So I'm going to put this in a window. Ally Bank. Down, was down, now flat. Had a big move, but no great pattern. Sell setup on the weekly. So I'm not finding EDU. I hate Chinese stocks. Lad would have been a good breakout over last week's high, but now it's gapping down to 12. That's an ugly gap. So I'm having a hard, I don't see any tier one setups here. PNC though, another bottoming pattern. So let's see, 10, 15, 30-minute high on that. These were some that we were looking at yesterday. CVS, bottoming retest pattern. Baidu, we actually have a 127 put spread in this, and now this has an ugly gap. So I moved stop 30-minute low. May decide to kill it early. I'll keep an eye on it. As Greg said, yeah, these credit spreads are great unless you get a big gap against you. Now this one's, you know, it's we're into defense right now. Mag, little buy setup. Sam mentions. Schwab, Aries really needs a 1, 2, 3. Lulu, I saw going by the ticker. That's an amazing strength. Oh, I just got filled with a penny on my my calls on Netflix. Oh no, I didn't. That was something else. Never mind. I did not get filled. Take that back. But just I'm going to look at the midpoint here. If we were to buy the entire Condor back right now, it's 22 cents on Netflix. But anyway, this is amazing relative strength on Lulu after that monster gap up. All right, Netflix right now is 18 cents, 17. So I'm going to try 18 right now and just be done with it. Filled. So try 18 or better. Okay.